On this week's Short Stack, we're talking about Old Man Logan number 12. I'll tell you if it's any good in 5 minutes or less. Probably. So in this arc, we have Logan, who's gone to Japan in pursuit of Lady Deathstrike, who in the last arc had done some Lady Deathstrike shenanigans, and Logan's had enough. And this time, instead of waiting for chaos to come to him, he's gonna bring chaos to his enemy. So last issue, in issue 11, we finally had the big showdown between Logan and So-Hi. Pretty much the Silent Order's big bad is Warrior. And just when we thought Logan was going to get beat, he does what Logan does, gets the upper hand, and kicks So-Hi off a cliff. At least we think. Until he's caught by what we see as a kid with some telekinetic powers. This issue picks up right where that leaves off, with Logan suspended in air by this mysterious kid who's got telekinetic or some sort of psychic power. And the kid tells Logan, look, dude, you gotta stop hurting my friends. And Logan tries to explain that, look, these aren't your friends. Like, I know a place where a kid like you would fit in great. Of course, this kid's not having it. He explains to Logan that when he first got his powers, he had a vision of the future. And this future is the Old Man Logan future, where he comes to Japan and wrecks everybody. He kills all the Silent Order, and including this kid. Logan tries to explain that this future isn't going to happen, because early on, when Logan first comes to this timeline, he tries to do everything in his power to stop that future from happening. And it isn't until he hooks up with the X-Men, mainly Jean Grey, and kind of have a therapy session, and she explains to him that this timeline is different, that his future is up for him to decide. He tries to explain, like, your destiny is up to you, your future is yours. But the kid still isn't believing him. He's trusting in the future that he saw and won't listen to anything Logan says. Now, this whole time, we have So-Hi. I probably said it a ton of different times this episode. Forgive me. But you have him in the background constantly saying, hey, let me kill Logan. Let me kill Logan. And the kid says no. I was like, I'm going to do this. Because this kid, he doesn't want to die. You kind of see him crying in the issue, so you get that he's really just afraid, like a frightened child or teenager, however you want to look at it. So he says, no, I'll do it. So he lifts Logan in the air and slams Logan down onto the ground into a pit where Lady Deathstrike also is, but listen, that's another issue. So he lands in the pit. He's kind of having an exchange with Deathstrike. He gets lifted back up in the air again and slammed. This happens over and over, and the kid's like, why won't you die? Of course, Logan's healing factors aren't exactly at peak, but they still do work. So as he continues getting slammed from up in the air to the bottom of the pit, he starts to have a flashback, or at least an internal monologue, where he talks about when your body gets in that much pain, your mind does pretty weird stuff. It'll send the pain into other places. And that's where you get a flashback of Logan in his, again, past/future, of him killing the entire Silent Order. And what he did, which is significant because Logan's main thing in this alternate future is he's not going to pop his claws. He's not going to resort to violence. He believes in peace. Gets his ass kicked quite a few times because of this. But when his wife is in danger, he finally decides he's done. He pops the claws and does what Wolverine does and slices everybody. After that fight's over, he turns and sees his wife, who, until this moment, didn't know he had any sort of those powers. And she looks frightened. And he tries to explain to her that he didn't really want to do this, that he didn't want to see this side of him, the animal, which is a recurring theme in this run, that the animal that Wolverine is. And explains that, again, he didn't want her to see that, and don't be afraid that he won't hurt her. And she kind of implies that really it doesn't matter, because it's not about him or it's not about her anymore, and that she's pregnant, which we knew that he had kids, and we knew what tragic things end up happening to those kids. But it's in that moment that we come back to right now, and he talks about, as Jeff Lemire does with his writing, that it's not, in symbolizing that it's not the fall that hurts, it's when you hit the bottom. And right when he says the bottom, we get a beautiful, beautiful page of him hitting the bottom of the pit. Lady Deathstrike is there, and instead of him going back in the air, she grabs an arrow, throws it up at the kid with the telekinetic powers, and he falls into the pit. As soon as he hits the pit, Logan grabs him, puts his fist up against the kid's head, And as Wolverine does, he says, "Okay, bub, playtime's over." Along with this book, Extraordinary X-Men, Moon Knight, and a slew of other indie books, including Descender and Black Hammer, it seems like Jeff Lemire can do no wrong. The guy knows how to write character. You get attached to him in an emotional way. When they're having an emotional high, you feel that high with them, and when they're at their low, he'll break your heart. And you mix that with the art of Sorrentino and the colors of Maiolo. The art is gritty, it's raw, it's what a Wolverine book should look like. And complemented with the colors, the way he shows emotion and violence adds to the mood of the book. And it's one of those when an artist and a colorist meet and it's magic, when you knew those two were destined to be together. That's this book. So if you're not reading this book, do yourself a favor when you go into the store, buy this book. I promise you won't be let down. It's absolutely one of my favorites. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. So if you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. Also leave a comment below, or you can go to our website and visit us there at comicplunder.com. All right, guys, thanks again, and see you next week.